Probably the most complicated computations you'll do in PreAlgebra involve mixed numbers and improper fractions. I have a way around that if you can just understand improper fractions very well. A proper fraction is a fraction that is less than 1. That's probably what you're used to seeing as fractions. For instance, 1/2. What makes it proper is the numerator is less than the denominator. Note that 3/8, the 3 is less than the 8, so it's less than 1, because 8/8 is 1. 12/13 is a proper fraction, because the numerator is less than the denominator. Now, on the other hand, an improper fraction is greater than 1. 4/3 is greater than 1. It's greater than 3/3. The numerator is greater than the denominator. 3/2 is improper because it's greater than 1. 31/12 is improper. Anytime the numerator is greater than the denominator, we have an improper fraction. Improper fractions actually have their place, but they can also be written as mixed numbers. For instance, 3/2 or 1 2/3. They're mixed numbers because they're part whole number and part fraction. Now, why would we want to write something as a mixed number? Well, they're easy to graph. 3/2, very simple to find on the number line. There it is. 1 2/3, very simple to find on the number line. But as an improper fraction, not so simple.
Yes, you're in deep dough now.
The problem with mixed numbers, while they're easy to graph, they're awkward to add, subtract, multiply, or divide. How would you do this? Well,
will you help me? Can you help me?
here's where we're going to have to go to our old buddy, improper fractions, because they are easy to add, subtract, multiply, and divide. So we're going to need to go back and forth. Let's start learning how to write an improper fraction as a mixed number so that we could graph it. Okay? The steps are this. You're going to divide the numerator by the denominator, because that's what a fraction is, a giant division problem. The answer or quotient is the whole number part of the mixed number, and the remainder over the denominator is the fractional part of the mixed number. For instance, let's change 7/2 to a mixed number. We'll divide 7 divided by 2, top divided by bottom. The answer is 3, but we get a remainder of 1. So what we do is that the quotient, the answer, is the whole number part, and the remainder over the denominator is the fractional part.
Excellent.
And that's how you do it. Let me show you one more example. Remember what we do. We divide the numerator by the denominator, top by bottom, and the answer is the whole number part, the quotient is the whole number part, and the remainder over the denominator is the fractional part. 5/3 would become 5 divided by 3. Well, 3 goes into 5 one time with a remainder of 2. So the answer as a mixed number is the 1. That's the whole number part. And the remainder over the denominator, the 2, over the denominator is the fractional part. Now, if we're going to go backwards and write mixed numbers as improper fractions, I'm going to have to review some things first. I want you to understand this. Recall that the number 1 as a fraction could be 3/3, as you can see. Could be 2/2, as you can see. Could be 4/4. See a pattern? Anything over itself. 3/3, 2/2, 4/4, oogie woogie oogie woogieths. Anything over itself is always 1. Now, if 1 equals these numbers, 2/2, 3/3, 4/4, whatever, 10/10, anything over itself, and for instance, we take 2 and multiply 2 times 1, isn't that the same as 2 times 2/2? If we do the multiplication, 2 is the same as 4/2. So the number 2 is the same as the whole number multiplied by the denominator over the denominator, 4/2. Or we could multiply it by 1 in the form 3/3. And once again, it would be the whole number times the denominator over the denominator. We can do this with any number, though, not just 2. If we multiply it by 1 in the form of the denominator over the denominator, it's going to work out as the whole number times the denominator over the denominator. One other thing I know you know, when we add fractions with like denominators, 3/3 plus 1/3, do you remember? We just add the tops. As long as they have similar denominators, you just add the numerators. 7/7 plus 2/7 is going to equal what? 7 plus 2 is going to equal 9/7. Don't forget, with similar denominators, you just add the numerators. Well, this is going to be involved when we write mixed numbers as improper fractions. Now, why would we do that? Don't forget, we told you already. Not because I said so, but we're going to want to change it to an improper fraction so that we can add, subtract, multiply, or divide. It's going to be way easier. In fact, it's going to be impossible if we don't do that. So, the steps are this. We're going to multiply the whole number by the denominator, like we just showed you. And then we're going to add the numerator to the answer. We call it the product. Add the numerator to the product you got in step 1. And then we're going to write all that answer over the original denominator. So let's multiply the whole number by the denominator, and then add the numerator to the product you got, and then we write that answer over the original denominator. And there it is. 3½ is 7/2. Note that you now have an improper fraction. The numerator is larger than the denominator.
Thank you, sir. May I have another?
We'll do another. Here's the steps. Multiply the whole number by the denominator. Then take that answer and add the numerator. Take that answer and write that over the original denominator. And there's your answer as an improper fraction. Okay,
What's all this jabber-wopping when there's work to be done?
you learn by doing. Get busy with the homework.